So students, today I'm going to start with you all the Himalayan mountains as a major physiographic divisions of our country. And this topic, the Himalayan mountains, is from chapter number 2, physical features of India. So as we have already discussed that India is a country where there is a huge variation in the physical features actually. Okay, where there's a huge variation in the physical features of our country actually. So as we move from the north to the south or from the west to the east, we come across different relief features, okay, or we come across different physiographic divisions of our country actually. For example, from the north to the south, when we move, first we come in contact with the Himalayan mountains, then the northern plains, then the peninsular plateau, and in the eastern side we are having the eastern coastal plain. On the western
Good
side
morning,
along the
sir.
Bay of Bengal, we are
Good
having the
morning, sir.
western coastal plain. Okay, in the west we are having the deserts, Indian deserts, and then we are having two islands in the Bay of Bengal and in the Arabian Sea. Okay, so these are the different physiographic divisions of our country. So first I am going to discuss about the Himalayan mountains, which forms the northernmost boundary of our country, as well as it is one of the recently formed physical feature of our country. Okay. So let us proceed to this discussion. So the Himalayan mountains, it forms the northernmost boundary of our country, and it is the recently formed landmass. Okay, it is the recently formed landmass, which is not more than 100 million years old actually. So the Himalayas is a geologically young and a structurally full mountains which stretch over the northern borders of India. So basically the Himalayan region or the Himalayas, it is a geologically young landform actually. Geologically young landform means in terms of geographical age, it has been formed in the recent period. It is not so old actually. Okay, it is not so old like the Peninsular Plateau, but it is a young landforms which is structurally fold mountain, and it is a type of fold mountain actually. Okay, there are different types of mountain like fold mountains, block mountains and all, but the Himalayas is a fold mountain which has been formed because of the crumbling of the interior, because of the crumbling of the plates and the rocks which lie interior actually. Okay, these mountain ranges, they run in a west to east direction from the Indus to the Brahmaputra river. So basically, these Himalayan mountain ranges, they run from the western part, okay, northwestern part of our country to the eastern direction in between the Indus and the Brahmaputra river. So basically, the Himalayan mountain ranges, it lies between the Indus River and the Brahmaputra River. Indus River in the west in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, and the river Brahmaputra in the east in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. So in between this, we are having the Himalayan mountains, which lies in our part, in our territory. The Himalayas, it represents the loftiest and one of the most rugged mountain barriers of the world. So this Himalayan mountain ranges, it is one of the loftiest, okay, it is one of the most beautiful, okay, it is one of the most rugged mountain barriers of the world actually. Okay, means this Himalayan mountain ranges is like very much you can, in terms of ecology, in terms of biodiversity, is very much enriched, as well as this Himalayan mountain region is also like very much rugged in nature. That means we can find like a very high peaks are there, extreme slope, like steep slopes are there and all. Okay, and it forms the northern border of our country actually. It forms the northern border of our country. So basically, the Himalayan mountains, it acts like a border. Okay, it's like acts like a barrier for our country. Like it protects us from the foreign invasion from the north, as well as it protects us from the cold wave of the Central Asian countries. Okay, the cold wave which prevails in the Central Asian country actually, it prevents like it blocks the cold wave to enter India, the Himalayan mountain, and this is why India is having a very pleasant climate, and because the Himalayas and the other physiographic features exist in our country. So basically, this Himalayan mountain ranges, it is an arc-set mountain. Like when, with the help of a compass, we draw the geographical in like geometrical like calculations in math. Actually, we draw the arc when we try to bisect. Okay, or we try to draw a triangle, and what do? We bisect actually. So while bisecting, we draw an arc, isn't it? A small arc. So basically, this Himalayan mountain is also a. If the shape of the Himalayan mountain is also a type of arc actually. If you look in the map of the India, you will see that the Himalayan mountain is simply a type of arc actually, and its length from the west to the east, that means its length between Indus and the Brahmaputra river is 2,400 kilometers. That means from the north, from the west to the east, that means from Jammu and Kashmir till Arunachal Pradesh, it is 2,400 kilometer long actually. And the width of the Himalayas, that means the width means from north to south, the width of the Himalayas, it varies from the west to the east. So basically in the western part, like in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand, in this state, the width of the Himalayas is higher. Okay, here the average width is around 400 kilometer. And as we move towards the eastern side, towards Arunachal Pradesh, the width of the Himalayan mountains, it goes on reducing. Okay, and ultimately in Arunachal Pradesh, the average width of the Himalayas is 150 kilometers. Okay, so basically the Himalayan mountain, the total length of the Himalayas is 2,400 kilometer, and its width varies from 400 kilometer in the west to 150 kilometer in the east, that is in Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, so this is what about the extension of the Himalayas actually. Okay, and in terms of the altitude as well, in terms of the altitude, if you see the Himalayan mountain ranges, okay, the Himalayan mountain ranges is having like some of the highest peaks in the world actually, like the Mount Everest, the Kanchenjunga, okay, then Makalu, many other peaks, okay, of the Himalayan mountains are some of the highest peaks of the world actually. Okay, so even the height of the Himalayan mountains, that is the altitude. Okay, the altitude of the Himalayan mountains, it varies. Okay, from the east to the west. So basically, the altitudinal height, or you can say the height of the Himalayas, is greater in the eastern half than those in the western half. Okay, so basically, in the eastern side of this Himalaya, like in the Nepal Himalayas and all, in this part actually, the height of the Himalayas is higher. Okay, and in the western part, actually, in the state of Jammu and Kashmir and all, the height of the Himalayas, is not so high actually. So basically, we are saying that in the eastern part it is higher actually, because the highest peak of the Himalayas, that is the Mount Everest, is situated, or it is located in this eastern part of the Himalayas. Okay, whereas in the western part, okay, like the height is there, the average height is 6,000 meter, more than 6,000 meter and all. Okay, but the highest peaks is not found here in this region actually. Okay. So the Himalayas, it consists of three parallel ranges in its longitudinal extent. And these Himalayan mountain ranges can be divided, okay, into three parallel ranges, like from the north to the south, means from the top to the down. If we come, the Himalayas can be divided into three mountain ranges. Okay, it can be divided into three broad divisions. For example, the topmost part, or the northern extreme part of the Himalayan mountains, is known as the Himadri, or the Greater Himalaya. Then, we are having the Lesser Himalaya, or the Himachal Himalaya, and the foothills of the Himalayas is known as the Sivaliks. Okay, which you have studied in your earlier classes also. In your junior classes also, you have got some information about this Himadri, the Lesser Himalaya, and the Sivaliks actually. Okay, so in this part of the Himalayas, actually, the Greater Himalayas or the Lesser Himalayas or the Sivaliks and all, okay, like different characteristics are there, okay, in these three divisions of the Himalayas actually. So now let us study in details about this Greater Himalaya, the Sivaliks, and the Lesser Himalayas actually. The northernmost range is known as the Great or the Inner Himalayas or the Himadri. So the northernmost part of the Himalayas, okay, means, as I said, the Himalayas is divided into three sections from north to south. Okay, so basically the northernmost, okay, extreme northernmost part of the Himalaya, the division of the Himalayas, is known as the Great Himalaya or the Inner Himalaya or the Himadri. Okay, and it is the continuous range consisting of the loftiest peak with an average height of 6,000 meters. Okay, and this part of the Himalaya, that is the Greater Himalaya, it is the it is a like most continuous range. Okay, means here the mountain chains are continuous in nature, and like the average height of this Himalayas is more than 6,000 meters actually, and it contains all the prominent Himalayan peaks actually. So in this part of the Greater Himalayas, all the prominent peaks can be found actually. Okay, so this part of the Himalayas, the Greater Himalayas or the Inner Himalayas, which is also known as Himadri, in this part of the Himalayas, we can find that the part of the Himalayas remains covered with snow throughout the year. Okay, and even in this part of the Himalayas, some of the glaciers has been formed, like the Siachen Glacier, the Boltaro glaciers and all. Okay, these are some of the important glaciers which has been formed in this part of the Greater Himalayas actually. Okay, and this like glaciers, okay, like the Siachen glacier. It is one of the uh, one of the important glaciers of the world actually. Okay, the next one. The folds of the Great Himalayas are asymmetrical in nature, and in this part of the Himalayas, okay, they are asymmetrical in nature actually, okay. And the core of this part of Himalayas is mainly composed of granite. So the Greater Himalayas, which is also known as the Himadri or Inner Himalaya, is mainly composed of granite. Okay, means the rocks which can be found here is mainly made up of granite rocks, and it is perennially snowbound. Perennially snowbound means it remains covered with snow throughout the year, and a number of glaciers descend from this, okay, as I said. So some of the glaciers, okay, which has formed in this part of the Greater Himalayas is the Siachen glacier, which is one of the famous glaciers, okay, like, and it is one of the most important glaciers for India actually, because okay, here the army is deployed to protect our country. And beyond, okay, to the south of this Greater Himalaya, we are having the Himachal Himalaya or the Lesser Himalaya. So the range lying to the south of the Himadri forms the most rugged mountain system and is known as the Himachal or the Lesser Himalaya. Okay, so the part of the Himalayas which lies south of the Himadri, okay, in the southern part of this Himadri or the Greater Himalaya is known as the Himachal Himalaya or the Lesser Himalaya. And in this part of the Himalayas, the height of the Himalayas, it ranges between 3,700 meter to 4,500 meter. That means the height is not so high like the Greater Himalayas. Okay, so here we are having the height of the mountains or the hill stations are it ranges between 3,700 to 4,500 meter. But the average width of this part of the Himachal Himalaya or the Lesser Himalaya is 50 kilometers. Okay, and the most important thing or the characteristics of this part of Himalayas, that is the Himachal or the Lesser Himalaya, is that some of the famous valleys can be found here, and even some of the famous hill stations are located in this region. While the Pir Panjal range, it forms the longest and the most important range. Okay, so the Pir Panjal range, it is the longest and the most important mountain range of this part of the Himalayas. Okay, apart from the Pir Panjal, the Dhauladhar and the Mahabharata ranges are also prominent ones. This range consists of the famous valleys of Kashmir, Kangra, and the Kulu Valley in Himachal Pradesh. And even in these ranges, okay, in this Pir Panjal range, Dhauladhar, Mahabharata range, and all, okay, the famous valley, the Kashmir Valley, the Kangra, and the Kulu Valley of Himachal Pradesh, okay, and even some of the famous hill stations are situated in this part of the Himalayas. So this part of the Himalayas is famous for tourist attraction actually. Okay, most of the tourists, okay, they visit this part of the Himalayan region actually. So in this map, you can see like the part of the Himalayas actually. So this is the brown portion. It is the Himalayas. So here you can see that when it is written Pamir North, just below that Pamir North, you see the Jammu state of Jammu and Kashmir. So from here you can see the width of the Himalayas is higher, okay, around 400 kilometers. But as we move towards the east, like where it is written Namcha Badwa, here the width of the Himalayas is less, and around 150 kilometers. Okay, and as now we are discussing about the divisions of the Himalayas. So Himalayas is mainly divided into three divisions, okay, from north to south. So where it is written this, okay, Karakoram range, Ladakh range, this part forms the actually greater Himalayas, okay. And then we are having the lesser Himalayas in between, okay, and then the Sivaliks ranges, which form the outer part of the Himalayas actually. Okay. So the outermost range of the Himalayas is called the Sivaliks. Okay, so the extreme last part of the Himalayas in the south actually, or you can say the foothills of the Himalayas also. Okay, so it is known as the Sivaliks or the outermost Himalayas. They extend over a width of 10 to 50 kilometers and have an average altitude varying between 900 to 1100 meters. So basically, the Sivaliks, okay, the height of the Sivaliks is 900 to 1100 meters and the average width is 10 to 50 kilometers. These ranges are composed of unconsolidated sediments brought down by the rivers from the main Himalayan ranges located further north. And this part of the Sivaliks, okay, has been formed, it has been made, okay, by the deposition of the sediments which has been brought down by the Himalayan regions from the northern part actually. Okay, so when the Himalayas was formed at that time, like many of the sediments were deposited in this Himalayan part actually, okay, and later on they were carried down by the rivers. Okay, and because of the deposition of the sediments and all, okay, this Sivalics and all, that's way formed. One more thing to be noted here is that in between the lesser Himalaya, that is the Himachal Himalaya and the Sivalics, some of the famous valleys are there. Okay, means the sediments and the materials, okay, which were present in the higher part of the Himalayas, they were filled up. Okay, they are like this part of the like Himalayas between the Sivalics and the lesser Himalaya, they got filled up with the debris, with the alluviums and all, and they form a flat valley type actually. Okay, means a valley with a like gentle slope actually, and they came to be known as the dunes actually, where human habitation has become possible. Okay, and these are locally known as the dunes. Okay, these valleys are actually known as the dunes actually. For example, Dehradun, Patli Dun, okay, Kotli Dun, etc. So the city of Dehradun has been formed in this kind of like a gentle slope. Okay, the gentle valleys actually, which lie between the Himachal or the lesser Himalaya and the Sivaliks. Okay, so this is what about the divisions of the Himalayas from the north to the south. So the upper part, that is the extreme upper part of the Himalayas, is known as the Greater Himalaya. Then we are having the lesser Himalaya or the Himachal Himalaya, and the outer part or the foothills are known as the Sivaliks. Okay. But apart from this, the Himalayan mountain ranges can also be divided from the west to the east. Like from as we move from Jammu and Kashmir, okay, towards Arunachal Pradesh, the Himalayan mountain systems can be divided into different divisions actually, and these divisions are on the basis of the river actually. Okay, on the basis of the rivers, the Himalayas has been divided into different divisions. Okay, so let us discuss about those divisions as well. So before we discuss about that, okay, first of all, let us know about some of the important peaks actually. So here you can see, like these are the names of the some of the highest peaks of the Himalayas actually. So Mount Everest is the highest peak, as we all know, and Mount Everest can be found in Nepal. Kanchenjunga is the highest peak, second highest peak of Mount Himalayas, okay, which can be found in India. Then Makalu, Dhaulagiri, Nanga Parbat, Annapurna, Nanda Devi, Kamet, Namcha Barwa, Gurla Mandhata. These are the some of the important peaks of the Himalayan region. Okay, and in India, Kanchenjunga, Nanda Devi, Kamet, Namcha Barwa, and Guria Mandhata. Okay, these are the 5 important peaks of the Himalayan region, which can be found in our country, India. Okay. See, so besides the longitudinal divisions, the Himalayas have been divided on the basis of regions from west to east. Okay, so besides the longitudinal divisions, the Himalayas has been divided on the basis of regions from west to east actually. Okay, these divisions have been demarcated by the river valleys actually, and these divisions of the Himalayas has been done on the basis of the rivers. Okay, so here you can see like many rivers, it flows through the Himalayan part, like the Indus, the Satluj, the Kali, okay, and the Tista, the Brahmaputra and all. So on the basis of the flow of the river, the Himalayas is divided into like a few divisions actually. Okay. The part of the Himalayas lying between Indus and Satluj has been traditionally known as the Punjab Himalaya. Okay, so the part of the Himalayas which lie between the Indus River and the Satluj River is known as the Punjab Himalaya. It is also known as the Kashmir and the Himachal Himalaya. Okay, so the part of the Himalayas which lie between Indus and Satluj River is known as the Punjab Himalaya, and alternatively it is known as Kashmir and Himachal Himalaya as well. Okay, the next. The next part. The part of the Himalayas lying between the Satluj and the Kali River is known as the Kumon Himalaya. Okay, and the part of the Himalaya which is between the Satluj River and the Kali River, it is known as the Kumon Himalaya. And basically, the state of Uttarakhand and some parts of Himachal Pradesh, it lies in this region. Okay, the Kali River, it flows through Nepal. Okay, and in between the Kali River and the Tista River, Kali River flows through Nepal and Tista River flows through Sikkim and West Bengal. Okay, so this part of the Himalayas between the Kali River in Nepal and Tista River in Sikkim and West Bengal is known as the Nepal Himalaya. That means the state of Sikkim and the Darjeeling Himalayan region, is a part of this Nepal Himalaya. Okay, means our part of the Himalayas, means the Darjeeling region, the Sikkim region, it is a part of the Nepal Himalayas. Okay, and in between the Tista River and the Dihang River, it is known as the Assam Himalaya. Okay, in between the Tista River and the Dihang River is in Arunachal Pradesh. It is known as the Assam Himalaya. Okay, but after the Dihang Gorge, the Himalayas, it takes a sharp bend and it moves towards the south. Okay, and this part of the Himalayas is known as the Purvanchal Hills or the Eastern Hills and Mountains. So the Brahmaputra marks the easternmost boundary of the Himalayas beyond the Dihang Gorge, and the Himalayas, they bend sharply to the south and spread along the eastern boundary of India. And they are known as the Purvanchal or the Eastern Hills and the Mountains. Okay, so I am showing you which is known as the Purvanchal Hills actually. So here you can see this part, okay, where it is written this part, okay, in the extreme, like you can see 3 lines are there. This part is known as the Purvanchal Himalayas. Okay, so basically the Himalayas, it moves from the west towards the east, and after the Dihang Gorge here in Arunachal Pradesh, the Himalayas, it moves towards the south like this way. Instead of going further east, they take a sharp bend, and this sharp bend in the south is known as the Purvanchal Himalayas. Okay, and this, it is again further subdivided into like okay, Purvanchal, it is divided Arunachal, okay, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, and all. Okay, okay. So these are the different divisions of the Himalayas from north to south and from west to east on the demarcation of the, on as per the demarcation made by the rivers actually. Okay, so this is what about the divisions of the Himalayas and about the Himalayas as a major physiographic divisions of our country.